Welcome back to Real Estate 101. Today we're going to continue our discussion on home staging and talk a little bit about moving seniors. And I'm pleased to be joined once again by Michelle Finnamore of Michelle Finnamore Interiors. Michelle, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, Michelle, so I want to start today's show and I want to ask you, what exactly, or what is the first thing you can offer a family that is about to move a senior member of their family?
Well, it's really important to have a plan. It's really difficult when you're trying to move a senior because there's so many emotions involved. And this way, I take that part of it away for the most part. I give everyone a focused plan that everybody knows what's going to happen, and then things come together rather quickly.
Now, I can imagine that, you know, a lot of families, they try to take on this onerous project on their own and they fail. Where do you come in? How do you start?
I start by coming through the house with the homeowner there if possible, and if not, if they've already gone into a home or unfortunately have passed away, then I do work directly with the family. The members generally try to have a team approach to it. We like to have them all there at the same time. If not, though, we do work with whoever can be around. Sometimes the families are out of town, so they're not able to be there. And we go through, we have a system for working with them so they know which things will be staying in the home and which things need to be moved out, which things can be donated, sold, that type of thing.
So how do you decide what stays and what goes?
We use a really simple system. We get different colors of painter's tape, and each one designates what happens. So they're given a legend. They know that green painter's tape means that that item will leave the house. Red tape means it's to go to the dump. Plain tape means it's staying in the house. So everyone knows right from the get-go, if this color tape is on here, this is what's happening with it. You don't have to keep asking each other, and that's what stops all the conversations in the family of, are we keeping this? Are we throwing this away? Well, I think we should keep it. This way they know because I've actually given them the instructions by putting that piece of tape on the item.
All right, so you don't necessarily move everything out right when you start the process.
No, not at all. We do try and use what we can in the house. Of course, we want an updated look for that new family that's going to be moving in. If everything is in the home from 1960, it doesn't really work. Right. Although I did have one with a purple leather sofa in, and that's actually in style this year, so that does work. So we always look at everything just to make sure that it actually can stay or go. And we do keep everyone's budget in mind. Obviously, you're moving off into retirement years, or you need other bills that need to be paid. So we do want to be very conscious of what we're doing with people's budgets, and that's why we have these discussions with the family.
So obviously with older families, I'm sure there's a lot of physical work that goes into this process. Who does all the carting away?
That's a really good question, Joe, because it's a difficult one. Sometimes the children are 60 years old or 65 years old. They do not have the energy or the time or the desire to actually be moving all these things. So I'm very fortunate. We work with a lovely lady named Laura from Transition Squad. She comes in with her company and they handle everything. They already know my system with the tape, so they know exactly what's happening. They'll actually move furniture from room to room for me. They even take it right down to if there's paint cans in the garage that have been there for 40 years, they take that away to the recycling center. They don't leave anything on the property that's going to cause any kind of an issue for when it closes. They make sure everything is cleared out.
All right, so once you've gone through your process of sorting everything with the tape, what happens then?
At that point, the family is either going to do the work themselves or Transition Squad comes in. From there, we actually have the painters come in and paint the house. There's nothing better than paint to make a house look brand new. So that's why we like to paint. I absolutely insist on it. From there, it also makes it smell a lot better too, because if they haven't painted for 5, 10, 15 years, it really just kills any odors that might be there in the house for the most part. And then from there, we have it professionally cleaned. And again, it gives it that sparkling, fresh smell and look, and that's what we're after. Next day, we stage right after that.
So how long does the entire process take from when you come in to when it's finished?
Typically it takes a minimum of 3 weeks, and that's because we have to get booked into Transition Squad's schedule, and they're usually booked out that far in advance. From there, the painter comes in the very next day. As soon as Transition Squad is done, the place is painted, and the next day the place is cleaned. The next day is staging day. So the longest I've ever seen it take in 6 years of doing this is 2 months, and that's only because of families having to get together first to decide who's actually taking something out of the house for their own use, and sometimes their schedules don't allow for them to get there right away. So we do work with the families and see what we can get together for them.
Now, when you go in, Michelle, is this something that a family should have a budget for, or is it something they could just wing it?
This is a big issue for some families because they haven't experienced this before. They don't know anything about staging. They haven't staged their own homes. Their friends or family has never staged. They really have no idea what a budget should be. So I do give them some rough estimates ahead of time depending on what I see in the house. If they haven't thrown anything away since 1950s, 1960s, then there is going to be a serious crunch in the budget at that point. However, we have found one of the best results we ever had was around the Bayview and 401 area. Basically, they were going to list at $447, I think it was. We ended up listing at $810 and it sold over list.
Whoa.
So that's what you can do by actually staging the property, but preparing it first by having all of the junk removed, things packed up, furniture taken to donation, that type of thing, and then having it cleaned and painted and then staged. So there is quite a definite bonus to families to do this. Now, you'll sometimes get where, well, we just don't really have a budget. So, okay, I'm going to give you a long list of things that each of you can do, and you do it the best that you can, and it might take longer, but you definitely should still do it.
All right, Michelle, so any last tips for viewers of our show that are about to embark on the process of moving a senior family member?
Yes, I think one of the first things you need to do is actually sit down with your senior member and let them know that you're bringing in someone that is going to do this. They really have no idea about what you're talking about. My own father, who's 84, does not know what I do still. He doesn't understand the whole process of why you would do this to sell a home. So I understand that part. I'm very patient with older people, and I do show them pictures before and after so they get an idea. I ask them if I can do a little vignette for them just in one room so they get an idea of what it's going to look like when it's done. That's how we start, and then from there I make sure they understand they will get a room by room written focus plan of what needs to be done. So there's no guesswork. Everything is actually very well laid out for them. They feel comfortable, they have confidence, and they need to hire a home stager that can do this for them.
All right, Michelle, great stuff. Thanks for coming on today's show, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again next month.
Thank you, Joe.
So there you have it. If you need a home stager, get in contact with Michelle Finnamore of Michelle Finnamore Interiors. I'm your host, Joe Terceira. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.